Today I'm over here at Turtle River Park on Blythe Island. Possible spot for the Civil War Confederate salt works that were over here on Blythe Island. This is what the salt works looked like that it had during the Civil War. It had this made out of brick, and then it had this little furnace area underneath that you could you had to put wood in there to make a fire. And also this has been obviously restored to make it look good, but it was obviously a little bit rougher back then. But you can see here the bricks on the ground. These are people that donated money to the restoration of this salt works. So their names are put there in honor in the bricks in the ground. And also, this is where the kettles are back there. But right here is the furnace where you put the fire under there to heat these kettles that you'll see on top that I'm about to show you in just a minute. So I'll walk around. But these are the kettles they use. They put the salt water in there from the rivers or the ocean, and they sit in there and heat it with fire really hot until all the water evaporates and always let this salt. So they take the salt and just pack it up and send it away. They could make 10 bushels of salt or 50 bushels of salt. Salt was very important. I chose this area because it's closest to the river. But it said it in the text, it said it was 7 miles from the port. So about 7 miles is about here or a little bit further down that way. The date was June 8th, 1863. A Union boat left St. Simon's Island, a gunboat, and came down the Brunswick River. Also, this is also called the Turtle River. And ended up coming over here to the salt works and opened fire and shelled them from the river over here where the salt works were. They also had a railroad over here too that they shelled as well, probably to move the salt and different things around over here on Blythe Island. This happened, the shelling of the salt works over here on Blythe Island happened the same time that they were going to attack the port down in Brunswick, but they fought them off and the Union eventually left. At the time, the Union had the blockade of the whole southern coast of every southern state. So during the battle of the shelling of the salt works over here on Blythe Island, 3 Union soldiers were killed and several wounded because the Confederates shot back and they shot at them. You're wondering how the salt works operation worked. Basically, they took tidal water, like at high tide or from the marsh, and boiled it in big, gigantic pots, steel pots. And once they let it boil, they let the water evaporate. Once the water evaporated from boiling, they just took the salt and shipped it out throughout the country. Salt during the Civil War was very important as a way to preserve food and feed the soldiers and all the people. It was the only preservative, one of the preservatives they had at the time. They usually have 10 kettles, more or less, according to how big your operation is, and 20 pans. The pans is what it cooled in, so they could collect the salt. At a salt works, probably the size of one over here on Blythe Island, they made about 10 to 65 bushels of salt a day. It's according to how much they got, the weather, and all kind of different. The Union gunboat was sitting out in this water, shelling over this way. And of course, the Confederates were shooting back. They ended up probably damaging a lot of the salt works. That was the Union's goal throughout the war, is to go through different salt works and shell them and destroy them. So if they didn't have salt, they couldn't preserve their food or feed their soldiers. But this would have been a good spot. Could have been further that way, but it was 7 miles from the port at that time. Okay, this is a map of, this is Blythe Island here, and this is the peninsula of Brunswick here. And the Civil War salt works was located in this circle. It had been from I-95 all the way to the tip. It said in the documents that down here where the port was, it was 7 miles upriver. So that puts it basically from I-95 all the way up towards the tip. So the Civil War salt works for the Confederacy was in that area that got gunned down.